Are we rolling? Let's get into it. This is Freedom Phil. Like, subscribe. And hey, what's the topic today? Is the Discovery Pass worth it? If you happen to be in Western Washington, or let's say whatever state you're in that happens to have a state park pass, if you're going to be in that particular state for a large amount of time, I would say yes. But where am I going with this? This is Freedom Phil. Turn up the video speed. Let's get into it. Like, subscribe. Back in the day, I think 15 or so years ago when they started doing this pass, it's about 15 years ago, maybe 20. I don't really remember. But one day it was just something you needed to have, so you didn't get hassled. You buy the pass. It used to be $30. Now it's $35 for a year pass. I know a lot of people get pissed off about it, but this is the same thing. You can make the same argument when it comes to national parks. You're up in the national park, you get your pass, and then you basically have a year's worth of activity in that area. Now, if you got the whole country's worth of national parks, that can be very beneficial. Now, this just depends on how good those places are. A lot of places, what's happened to them is they've went from being, you had some benefits. Like, for instance, some of the Discovery Pass, the DNR places, they have campgrounds that you can camp at. If you have that pass, you can camp for free for up to a week in those particular lands. I don't know if I remember right, whether it's within 25 miles or whatever, but you basically can use that. Now, there's ways you can really work this. You could basically, let me tell you, one of the biggest challenges I've found when dealing with the cities, and I know a lot of people would say, well, I can go and get what you're about to say for free. Just go in there and get it. And this is true. Sometimes you won't get hassled. But water becomes an issue because a lot of places that used to be able to get water all over the country, like sometimes some parks used to have it everywhere. Now they tear it out of the parks, partially because, well, homeless people or people in RVs would show up and fill up their tanks and then go about their merry way. I don't know what the big deal is. Well, they're not paying for that water. Okay, I kind of get that, but I kind of don't. So what you have to put in perspective is that, yeah, they come and fill up their jugs, they come and fill up their tank or whatever, and then they go back to the outlands. Now, a good part of the land out there, the forestry is still exactly the way it was. There's less roads here and there, or there's some issues here and there. It's not exactly the same, but it's pretty much the same. A lot of places I used to stomp, you can still go there. But the BLM or DNR, and we have DNR in this particular state, BLM's down in Oregon. When you go out to a lot of these lands, you should just be thankful there's even a road open, because most of the time they just tear out the roads. So in the few areas, there's actually an area, like, for instance, I could fill up my water bottles when I've got full freezers, and I got to actually keep the sun action going, because I only need so much sun action for video games, which is almost nothing. That little system, the other, well, you guys can't see it, but let's see, open this up, boom. That system over there is a little cantankerous. It has to get to a certain wattage before it'll start charging. This one for the TV, it's just a simple battery system. I could get full charge on a cloudy day easily for that. So I don't really need nearly as much. I don't really need as much energy. So strategically, I could basically fill up on the way out to an area at a campground, not stay in the campground, save that week there to where I run out of perishable food. And then basically, go to some clear cut that I know of where I've got good sunlight, lots of firewood. In fact, strategically, if that is what I'd do, if I was going to go camp in a campground, I would go to the clear cut and camp for a week or two first. 20, 30, like easily 30 to 50 gallons of water. And if it's dry camping up on a hill, And then basically on the way out, after all my water's depleted, I would go down, I would load it up, I'd crush, squish down all the water bottles, because you can squish them down, then reinflate them later. Basically, yeah, I'd just do that, come back, and then I'd fill up my van with a bunch of firewood, a ton of firewood, and then go to the campground midweek. So then I've got 3 weeks worth of camping. Now, if I go up into the forestry area, there you go. And the same thing. If because I can quietly be in one area, then be in another area. So basically what ends up happening is that I use the resources that my Discovery Pass can do for me. Places that, are pretty laid back and chill. You got to pay $10 if you want to be here for just a single day or a week pass. Just pay the $35 and get a year pass. But yeah, for refilling the water. And then sometimes these places have showers. They're pay showers. But like basically, who is this? 1 second, let me take care of this. This is one thing about this shit that I don't care for. 1 second. Your death is the solution. Gone. Get the fuck out of here. But like, these places that you can go and basically camp in the middle of nowhere. And the thing about it is, once you get to a region, you only got to go so many miles. So if the water's relatively close, basically get your water, then head back up into the hills, camp in someplace in the forestry. And that works out pretty good. You can do this all summer. You could literally, if you strategically plan your areas, you could run one area for about a month or so. And then when you're done with that area, move about 25, 30 miles to another area, run those hills. And so you learn what campgrounds you could just drive into and fill up your water. Then you go up to the top of the hill. Another thing you can do if you happen to have it is if you, I spot wildlife occasionally. Shit, around this town, there's deer everywhere. Out in the woods, no deer. Weird screaming things in the middle of the night. It's probably some rodent or some bird, middle of the night. Oh yeah, there's actually, it's actually, what do you call it? There's owls. I heard a barred owl the other night. That was pretty cool. Doing the mating call early in the morning, like 4 a.m. But, the thing of it is that I sit there and look at it. I'm like, if you know how to van life, well, let's just say that you've already worked and you've already got your money invested. You're officially out of a state where you don't have to pay capital gains, At that point, you could just basically van life all over the country for practically nothing. And it's funny to me because you get to these state parks, and I think it's hilarious because some of these people, they drive up with their little electric alien mobiles. I'm sorry, but you ever hear those electric vehicles, and they kind of have any, they sound like something off of Star Trek. They're like, whoa. Look, I drive a V8. I like the rumbling, chugging sound of a V8. I like the sound of them knowing one. And then, of course, when you hear one of those bad muffler mobiles, or, like a 4-banger or a 6-banger, and you're like, oh, there's a meth mobile. You guys talk about Mexi mobiles in the farmlands. We have meth mobiles out here. But, yeah, no, they actually add that sound to it, from what I understand. That's what they do. They add that sound. Yeah, they sound creepy. They do. They sound like some like, you ever watch one of the old sci-fi movies, like on Comet or whatever, and they show the alien life form vehicles on their planet. And they're like, and they add that noise to it, and I'm just like, what the fuck is that? I've heard they actually had to add that noise because people that were hard of hearing were getting hit because they were like, they can't, like cars, you can hear them. Just like that saying, loud pipes save lives when it comes to motorcycles. But yeah, I think it's funny. I'll be hanging out here at like this, what used to be a military installation ages ago. So now it's just a state park, a fort, whatever. And got good sun, recharging all the batteries, good times. And basically, you'll have these rich people that show up with their less than perfect dogs, by the way. I did see one person who had a corgi, except for they were fucking practically deaf. They come up, oh, can our corgi say hi? And I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. My dog does not like other dogs. He kind of shies back. I'm like, that might be a female dog, boy. Don't you know that? But I'm like, he likes people more than dogs. And I was like asking him, I'm starting to ask him, hey, is this a male or female you got? And they're just like, you know, that's a thing old people do where they act like they can't hear. And maybe I should have just been like, I should have been like shoo shoo, or, you know, like, you know, or at a certain point I get to the fuck you place. I'm like, don't act like you can't hear, because you can. I know a lot of you are just full of shit on that. But like that weird thing where a lot of them will look over at my van and they're like, that's there. Oh, there's poor people about. And what's funny about it, I just want to point this out. These fucking people, a lot of these people around this particular area of the Olympics, they were hippies back in the day. They were hippies and privileged rich kids, wild and free, man. They get older and a lot of them turn into HOA Karens. Oh my God, there's someone poor around. You were that poor person back in the day. I'm not poor, but you know, my van my van looks like a 1980s van. So, you know, a lot of van lifers. I've had one van lifer that's given me a donation that I can remember. And it was the other day, it was $5. And the other van was pretty nice. It was like it was a regular style van, but the plus model. But the point of it is that you're out there and you have these people looking at you like, what are you doing here? This is for the privilege. I'm like, no, bitch, I paid for my $35. Paid my $35 for my parking pass. So I can use this as much as I want. And that's the thing about it, man. I could literally just drive a mile or 2 miles to another spot that I know of. In order to access that other spot, I'd have to fix it. I'd have to go in there and bushwhack, you know, I'd take out a tree. It's not a huge tree. Or take the tree and tie it up to where my van wouldn't hit shit. And I'm not sure. I don't really want to do that much work considering I'm going to be taking off from here. I do miss that spot, mind you, but a little bit of garbage back there now because I haven't been there to take care of it. But yeah, I stick by it. When it comes to this whole traveling and van life thing, if you have a state that's big enough that you're really going to be in a lot and they've got like some sort of state park pass, it's worth it. If you can get access to water, better parking, you know, and even some free camping, like I'll tell you, I know Oregon's pretty chill about when you're out there in the middle of nowhere, parked in the boondocks, they're pretty chill about it. I never got hassled once. I never even had a pass. I don't know if they have a pass. But like, yeah, BLM land, I was out there. I loved it. It was nice. You know, you get out there, nobody bugs you. There's people that have been out there for months parked in the same spot. And the thing is, they're like seasonal parkers. They're not there year round. It gets too fucking cold. But like nobody hassles you. And you know why? Because you're in the middle of nowhere. And you know what that does? It gets rid of a lot of the riffraff. It really does. To the point where a quality bum like myself, and I don't know if I'd say I'm a van lifer. I'm somewhere in between a bum, van life. I'm a nomad. But a quality bum like myself, I drive up and they'll be looking over like, And I'm like, what? Just getting out of the city. But, you know, I mean, I get why people are the way they are. I just think it's kind of funny how old hippies and the generation that brought you all the crazy dancing and, you know, don't trust anybody over 30, then gets old and becomes the HOA assholes that are looking over like, my God, is that person going to rob me? Or are they going to steal something from my car? It's like, yeah. And I got to be honest. I like the fact that I'm making you feel uncomfortable. You'd fucking deserve it, you hypocrites. Like these people who vote for all these social programs, but keep them out of our areas. And then you buy the park pass and it's like, yeah, buddy. And by the way, even the ranger yesterday, she was really looking over that she's like, oh, he has the pass. Yeah, bitch. Yeah, I'm not stupid. I have the pass. Yeah, unlike a lot of these privileged fuckers that show up here don't even have it. God, it's so funny. Anyhow, this is Freedom Phil. Y'all take it easy. And remember, freaking out normies is the way. Peace. Ugh.